Enjoying the course so far?
Yeah.
Progressing well, mate. Doing very well with it.
Thanks for that. Good.
But you're just getting sleep at night, is it?
It's getting towards that test time.
We're getting closer and closer to it, mate. So what we're doing today is another skill that will get you even closer to that test. So we're going to be doing today a D-stack from high level of an industrial racking system.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So before I go into any depth on that, we want to look at what you covered on the last lesson.
Okay.
So last prior lesson today, we stacked at high level.
That's right, yeah.
Remember that lesson, mate?
Yes.
Enjoy that? You're a bit nervous about it, apprehensive, weren't you, bro?
That's right.
You managed it, they're all in perfectly, mate.
Yeah.
So, did really well. Is there anything that you went away with from that lesson that you were unsure about?
There was a little bit about the turns, but I think we've covered
The turns?
Yeah.
We're going to be doing them again today. So we can, a bit more practice at it, isn't it? So
yeah, great.
the 90-degree turns feature through a lot of what we do, so there's lots of practice time through there.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're a little bit unsure about it though, what do we use to line up? So we use our pivot point, which is what?
It was towards the front, using the centre of the front wheel.
Excellent,
That would be
mate,
the
yeah.
pivot
And then what did we use them to line up with as a reference point?
I remember we were given like use the front of where we were sitting, potentially, or I can't remember. I think it was.
Go on, you were nearly right towards the end now.
Yeah, it was towards the
No, after that,
the block,
which block?
the centre block.
The centre block of the pallet mate is our reference point.
Yeah.
So this obviously is a bit confusing there, so we'll clear this up when we go into our lesson today.
Okay.
So always the centre of the front wheel
Yeah.
with the centre block of the pallet that we're aiming for.
That's
that
right, yeah.
particular truck. So, okay, good. So you happy with that, yeah?
Yeah.
Great. So I said we'll practice that again in this lesson anyway. So what else did we learn in that lesson? We learned about some of the safety precautions and so on in the racking. So
Yeah.
can you just name one of the checks with the racking that we might need to make before stacking at high level?
Anything for the racking?
Yeah, anything on the racking, yeah.
That there's pins in the beams.
Yeah, okay.
So we don't
That's
climb
fine,
it.
that's fine, mate. So yeah, we have our safety clips and beams in on the racking. What about the load then that we're placing into the top shelf of the racking? What was important about that load? Just one thing will do.
Within the confines of the pallet itself.
Okay, good. So it wasn't overhanging,
Yeah.
the stock was secure.
Yeah.
Great stuff, mate. So we've learned some good basics there from the last lesson. We're ready to move on now to today's lesson, which is going to be a D-stack from high level of racking. Okay? What we want you to achieve by the end of this lesson, again, you'll be able to go into detail on all the safety precautions to be taken before withdrawing a pallet out of the racking at high level.
Okay.
You'll also be able to demonstrate the ability to come in, do a 90-degree turn, de-stack it safely and under full control, bring it safely away from the racking, down into a travel position, and placing it down onto the ground. Okay?
Okay.
So that's what we want you to get out of today's lesson, mate. If we do that, get it now.
Cool.
And we're one step closer. Okay? So, why? What you're really going to benefit from a lesson such as this? Well, we can't just keep putting stuff in the racking. So, yeah, a big feature of forklift driving is placing and depositing loads in the racking system, but to utilise it to its full effect, we've got to be able to put in and take away, haven't we, as well?
Yeah.
So, putting in is one skill. Taking away is a different skill, because now it's more accuracy, judging fork heights, etc.
Yeah.
So we've got to be really sort of accurate with these fork heights going in.
Okay.
Danger of pushing things off. So again, if you get this wrong, we push the pallet off there full of bricks. So if you push this pallet off, then bricks are going to come down either backwards or towards. But the key is, we're going to give you the skills today that won't let that happen. Now, back in your workplace, when you might not have a job at the moment, but when you go back to your workplace to use a forklift machine, their racking could be slightly higher.
Yeah.
It could be different loads, could be plasma tellies, could be all sorts of stuff. So there could be really expensive things up there as well.
Yeah.
Not just the damage and danger to ourselves, but damage to stock from the company. So they're going to benefit from having a knowledgeable operator capable of what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you're going to benefit because it gives you confidence. The more things you can do, the more confident an operator you are.
Okay.
And that shows, so your company will then see somebody there who's confident with what they do,
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be gained from a lesson such as today, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have a quick look into then how we're going to do this. So, first of all, before, like anything really, before we dive in and go straight into the skill,
Yeah.
we'll have to look a bit at the safety element towards it. So, if we're going to take one out of the racking, we have to make some basic safety checks. So, basic safety checks is again, the end of our racking, we have covered this, but just to run through quickly, is our weight distribution. So, top shelf there, says 4,000 kilograms UDL. Do you remember what UDL stood for?
Uniformly distributed over.
Well done, mate, I remember. Yeah, so 4,000 kilograms of UDL. Basically 4,000 kilos distributed evenly across that beam.
Okay.
So as you can see, we've labelled up the racking here as 2 locations of 2,000.
Yeah.
You can't just put a 4,000 kilo pallet in there.
No.
We can only put 2,000 in each location.
Right.
Yeah. What we also have to look at is fine, we're just taking off our top ones.
Yeah.
But if that's all we're looking at, there's lots of other dangers there. So if this pallet isn't on properly,
Yeah.
and we're taking one out the top, any sort of disturbance to the racking could make this one fall.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So if the bottom pallet, someone's put it in, and it's stuck right out,
Yeah.
you can't get into the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's lots of other precautions. If the pallets are stuck out too far on your way up, you might catch them with forks.
Yeah.
So we've got to basically look at the other pallets in the racking. We can't just stick to the ones that we're focused on. We have to check all the pallets in the racking. We need to check the structure as well. So making sure all the structure of it's okay. As you correctly said from before, safety clips are in, beams aren't bent or damaged. There's no damage to the legs, and they're all well bolted. So basically, say for example, I'm going to be taking this pallet out there for you as a demonstration. So some of the basic checks are making sure the bottom one is okay. All the adjacent loads around it are fine. There's no damage to the structure from the back. Just basic checks on all the above. I also want to have a check and have a look at the pallet I'm going to be reading, which is this one. So I can see underneath quite a bit of it. So check blocks are okay, check the pallet's not snapped.
Yeah.
We can only see the front and back might have snapped and fell off.
Mm-hmm.
When you put your forks in, it pushes it off the racking.
Right. Okay.
So we want to make sure from what we can see there, everything looks in good, safe condition.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing then obviously we've got to take into account, because it's at high level particularly, is the weight.
Okay.
And some people go under the assumption, well it's gone up there, so it must come down, which is, again, we never assume.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been a different truck that put it up there, different capacities.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Some warehouses have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 trucks. So just because it's up in the racking doesn't mean our truck is safe to bring it back down. So we've got weights recorded on our loads. And the weight on the load that we're going to be taking down today here is 850 kilos.
Okay.
So what we can do, mate, is we can come and have a look at our capacity plate on the machine. Our capacity plate has a maximum capacity of 1,070 to a height of 5,550 mil.
Right. Okay.
And a load centre of 500. So our pallets are a metre in length, evenly distributed. So we meet all of that criteria.
Okay.
So are we okay to take that down?
Yes.
Yeah?
I said so. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So also things to check are on your areas of ground conditions. If the ground's dipped like that, clearly my truck's not going to go into a load at the top.
Okay.
And it also may mean the racking becomes unstable as well on uneven ground.
Okay.
Checked above, lights, sprinklers, all sorts of things there. You know, lights, beams, A-frames that can get in your way, so just basic checks above as well. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot of the safety precautions there. You're quite happy with everything that we've covered there?
Yeah.
mate?
Yeah.
Is there anything that stood out to you? Thought, oh, don't know what that is.
No, not really. I think everything.
Great stuff.
Really amazing.
So just a couple of questions then, just to make sure some of the basics on there.
Okay.
Other than the load that we're going to take out, what are the checks may need to make on regarding the loads in your racking?
They're all secure.
Yeah.
That there's no nothing hanging off them.
Yeah.
Um,
Ground ones, what might we check with those?
making sure that they're not too far out, so we
Yeah.
can't get to the pallet applicable.
It's a classic. People leave it stuck 2 foot out. You come into the top, it's bang. So it's very careful with ground locations as well.
Okay.
Brilliant, mate. And what checks then do we need to make with the actual rack structure of the racking system?
That there is no damage to the uprights, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything else on the uprights? Just the uprights, or do we check anything else on the racking?
Well, check the uprights, the beams,
Yeah.
and make sure there's that signage, the
Tremendous, mate.
DGL on there.
Tremendous. So, what we're going to do now, happy to move on now from the safety precautions. Just before we do, what you can do now though is have a quick check just of your racking systems. You're going to be moving pallets B and C.
Okay.
Okay? So just have a quick check round of your racking, your area, just making sure you're happy with everything there. But we've kind of looked at it already, but just have a quick nosy, mate, make sure, check your pallets safe in the racking,
Straight.
and the other ones aren't going to get in your way.
No, that's awesome.
What are the weights on those ones?
There's 850 for C and 850 for B, so they're
We know, don't we?
pretty much the same as the ones we've got to pick up.
Great stuff. Good stuff. So, what we'll do now then, we'll have a look at how we're going to go and get it off. Okay? So what you'll do, first of all, obviously we've got our forklift truck, we're going to drive it nice and central down the aisle. So I know you were struggling with your turns a little bit, you were saying, so we've got to keep central. What you'll see down the aisle, cones, with the post there, marking centre.
Okay.
So we line up our hydraulic ram along with those cones, and it keeps us perfectly in the centre. Turn a little bit more straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah. So we keep it nice and central going in towards those. Drive it up then with our right hand. Basically, we're going to line up your centre of your front wheel along with the middle block of the pallet. Once we've got those two perfectly lined up, we're going to check all around, start our turn, keep checking the back, catching on the barriers,
Okay.
and the forks catching on any loads at the front. So
Okay.
we come round, full 90-degree turn, checking those. Then once we've come round, we're going to straighten off the wheel and run to within, how far? 6 inches. You've not forgotten that one. So 6 inches away.
Yeah.
6 inches basically that distance. We come 6 inches away, apply the handbrake, take it out again. We're going to level our forks. So once the forks are level, we can start to raise. But before we do, we check a book.
Yeah.
So quick check, make sure everything's clear as we're lifting. Keep an eye on your forks all the way up.
Okay.
What we have then is a problem that we've covered before, but we'll go through again, something called parallax view.
Okay.
Okay, so parallax view is when you've got a pallet or a load at height, an angle away from you, and you have to judge height with your fork tips.
Okay.
So what happens is that the human eye tends to go short. Looking at something from an angle that looks about right, but we may need to go up more. Okay? You've also got to think of your forks as a wedge shape. So they're like that.
Okay.
So that bit's flat, this bit's curved, the underneath.
Okay.
So if we go in with the fork tips kind of low, then they might go in there, that's fine, but the further they go in, the more chance they're going to push back because it's like the angle underneath.
Right. Okay.
So we kind of need to go up towards the top of the pallet. So if we've got our forks level, they can't really move.
No.
But as it gets thicker and thicker going in, it misses the bottom.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we've just got to sort of clear the bottom with the bottom of the foot, bottom of the pallet with the bottom of the foot. So once we're sort of happy then that we've got them level and we're slightly up near the top of the pallet, we can do our all-round observations, make sure your area is completely clear, and then approach very slowly to within about 2 inches away. So we get a bit closer to that load, and now we can judge height a bit easier because it's a lot closer.
Yeah.
So the closer it gets, the easier we can judge. So maybe there we can make any slight corrections with our hydraulics.
Okay.
So just a slight, nice, smooth correction. All round checks again. If we don't need a correction, we can carry on at that point.
Okay.
All round checks, carry on. Driving nice and slowly. Listening for any sounds.
Okay.
Squeaking, forks rubbing, looking at the forks, looking at the pallet, looking for any kind of movement, okay? As we keep going in, if we've not got any of these, we can go all the way in. If we do find that there is a noise, it's good practice then to stop the machine.
Okay.
Look at what's happening, what you think might be wrong, and then you can correct and adjust.
Okay.
Again, we've got to keep your movements very, very smooth. Okay. Failing that, we're all the way in. Heel up to your load.
Okay.
Secure it up against the front face of the fork arms, and we can raise the load. What you'll tend to find when we raise the load is it falls in a little bit.
Okay.
Because the forks have gone up, they're at full, it's like you holding something at full stretch,
Yeah.
and you pick something, it literally pulls you forward. So that would happen with these. So basically the weight of that load, if there's a significant weight in it, pulls the mass slightly forward.
Okay.
So we can correct that, and we correct that with our tilt.
Okay.
So a little bit of tilt, what we call stabilising tilt. Brings the load back to where it was.
Alright.
Okay, so don't panic if you do feel that movement.
Okay.
It's inside our capacities, it's safe. It may just move a little bit, so we pull it back with the tilt, correct it.
Okay.
By doing that, we should ensure that the back's off the beams, the front's off the beams, so we're clear to come out. Do our all-round observations, look back where we're going, checking your load as well though, but focused on what's behind. Somebody would walk behind you and crush them against the wall. Do you know what I mean? So, in a warehouse, you'll find people always diving behind you, rushing around. So keep checking back, keep looking at the load, keep checking back. We bring it 6 inches away from the racking.
Okay.
Handbrake on, lower the load down to just off the ground level. Travel position, reverse back. What you're going to do from there, mate, is going to drive forward, place it down into the relevant position. So we've got ABC there, ABC. We don't have to be neat or tidy. See the lines, just put it over the line.
Okay.
So 2-3 inches over the line, it's fine into them, mate. Just put it down into those positions.
Okay.
So that's what we do today.
Great.
Lot to take in there.
There's a fair bit, yeah.
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 So as you can see, it's a different skill now. So it's a lot to take in there. Any questions? You okay?
No, I'm pretty. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
Excellent. Good stuff. So once we've raised up our load,
Yeah.
we're 6 inches away.
Yeah.
We drive in how far and to check.
About halfway.
So yeah, 2 to 3 inches away, just to get a bit closer to it and just see.
Yeah.
And if we're not right, what do we do?
Adjust.
Make any slight adjustments up or
Adjustments.
down to make sure we don't contact.
Okay.
While driving in there,
Yeah.
what we listening for, what we looking for.
Any rubbing or scrapes or squeaks or anything that might
Yeah.
make me aware and catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I didn't mention before, but on the same lines, is that you may feel a bit of resistance back off the machine as well.
Right.
So
Okay.
you can be driving in nice and slow and you feel you have to go a bit quicker. You shouldn't have to speed up, should stay the same speed. So if you're finding you're having to sort of fly more speed, maybe it is rubbing and catching, so we stop and check.
Right. Okay.
Okay, good. Once we've lifted the load up, what are the potential effects of that load and how can we correct it?
It will potentially feel like it's trying to tilt forward somewhat.
Yeah.
So we just minimal amount of tilt back, just to.
What do we call that tilt? Stabilising.
Stabilising. Yeah.
Just to stabilise the load.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Excellent, mate. So we've covered more than enough there. Best thing to do now is, should we do it? Let's do it. Okay. So we've covered everything we need to cover. Let's just get it done. Show you how it's done. So I'll show you one.
Yeah.
You put you in a position where you can see everything I'm doing,
Okay.
and then you're going to do that too for me.
Right. Okay.
So what I'd like to do, mate, start at the side of this cone for me first of all. Okay. I forgot the key.
Do you want me that side or this side?
Stay there, mate, it's fine. So, I'll talk you through this 90-degree turn again, only because I know you're struggling with it a little bit. So first thing is get it central into your arm. the wheel. So I've got myself lined up with them cones down there. Now I'm going to start looking at the 2 points, pivot point and reference point. So if I am struggling with this turn, I can look at something as a bit of a help or a guide. Just so happens on this machine, the back end of this piece of tape here is in line with the upright of the racking.
Right, okay.
So I'm confident where I am there that I can turn in and get that, and it just so happens that that's lined up with there. Something like that, you give yourself a visual aid, something might help you along the way. So once I'm in this position, do a 90-degree turn. Step back in front. As you can see, lined up. Within 6 inches. Stop. Okay? Yeah. This point I'm going to take it off any tilt. Check the glove to make sure everything's clear. Lift up the fork. Something I didn't mention in the explanation is we can double check the level at eye level as well to make life easier for us. So I bring them up nice and slow. And just start to check. You don't need to stop it as such. Just checking. I'm quite happy now that they're okay. So continue up to the top. Nice smooth hydraulics all the way. Start to touch your height. So aim the fork tip towards the top part of the pallet. Okay? Yeah. And there, check both sides, right in. Now I can start to get a better judgment within sort of 2 to 3 inches. So I can stop that there, look at it. I can afford to go a touch higher there, because obviously the fork tips are narrow, the fork keels are thick. So if I'm unsure, I can just go a little touch higher. Just back in, okay. Check to both sides. Nice and slowly in, central to the pallet. I tend to use my hydraulic ram in the middle, looking at the middle block. Listening for sounds, checking any resistance, looking for any signs of fork moving. Right into the centre of the load and reload. As I lift up now, it's come off the beam a bit now because it's gone forward in as well. So I can just stabilise and drag that tilt. It's back where it was, and pick it up. So now I know the pallet's level. So all round check. Back where I'm going. Keep looking back, checking the load. Bringing it back away from the rack. Safe position to bring it down. Nice and smooth hydraulics on the way down. Down into a travelling position. Okay. All round observation. Hold that back. Hold back. So, I'm just going to go to that and we're going to place it down there. Not much to go through this review, but if we just go and stand up by the yellow cone just so nobody that's private. Depth. So I can't see these white marks. I can see them at the sides, but can't see the head obviously because they're low. We just use the cap forward just to make sure I've gone past the line. We don't have to be accurate, we just get over the line. Level off the load, make sure it's nice and straight. Place it down gently. Go a further in just so you know the forks won't catch coming out. Okay, just stand back by that last rope from there. Okay. So, touch both sides, the back one going. Keep an eye on the forks coming out. Again, looking for any signs of rubbing or catching. 6 inches away. Travelling position. Check to both sides. Walk back all the way to the cones and start the course. checks before we dismount. Now backwards. Okay? Good for that. Happy to have a go?
Is that never going to be?
So what are you going to do now, mate? Help me. Then you're going to go and take that one out.
Yeah.
And then place it down into the next line. I'll talk you through it all. Well, loads of concepts away from the skill anyway. But I'll give you all the instructions and help you do it. Once you've done that, you get back to the start, back down, and let you do one all on your own. Okay? So, I'll give you one for this. So, you don't make my machine. Okay, good. So, yeah, double position there. So, with all the money you've been taught, obviously move off forward and we'll get central in the outfit. I don't really need to teach this 90-degree turn, but with you saying you're struggling a little bit, I'll help you through this first one so that you can see it. Okay. Alright? Yeah. So, obviously your all-round checks, mate, the money you've been taught, drive up forward, central into your aisle. Okay. Yep. Okay, so we'll line it up, middle of the front wheel, middle block of the power. When you feel like you've got that in mind, just stop. Stop it there. Okay, so what you can also see now is you should see this, it's directly in line between the gap on the two pallets. Does that look about right? Okay. Okay, try again, so all round check. Forward touch. Out there. So that sort of gives you a bit of a guide onto where you need to be. Alright. Full 90-degree turn to the left of the wheel with your right hand, with mine. First time in a week. All round checks. All round check, mate. Check. Fork swing and rear end swing. Okay, are we looking for line up there first of all? Looking lined up with the top one. So if you look at your forks at the top pallet, do we look
top
up?
one?
There we go, that's the one we're going for. So, get all round checks, drive up to within 6 inches, straighten off the machine. Level off your forks. A little bit more. Check. All round checks. Nice and slowly up with your forks, double checking them as we go up at eye level. Okay, how does that look to you there?
Maybe not quite high enough.
Okay, so tighten a little bit higher. Okay. So all round checks now, we can drive into within 2 inches. Nice and slowly, just get a gauge of where the forks are height-wise. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so all round checks, mate, carry on in. Remember, listening for sounds, keeping the centre of the pallet. Okay, so we can raise our load now, nice and slip gently off the racking. Don't be afraid if you feel a bit of a wobble. Feel that weight move?
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? It's a bit unnerving at first, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if we tilt back and apply that stabilising tilt. Excellent. Happy?
Yeah.
Good. So, all round checks, look back where you're going, reverse back, safe distance away from the racking. Keep looking back as well, mate, it's good, this. Okay, from here, in a manner you've already been taught, you can do this. You're going to reverse back up to your cones, mate, drive it up forward, place it in location B, reverse back to your cones. Okay? You can remember travel position, you must have a good instructor. That's all I can say. You've everything as it is, just turn the key off a sec. How do you feel about that? You've just de-stacked from high level.
Yeah. It's not too bad.
Perfectly. Yeah?
Yeah.
Confident?
Yeah.
You've just done it?
Yeah.
You've done it really well there, mate. So all you've got to do is repeat that exercise. Make sure that one wasn't a fluke. So, I'll still be here.
Yeah.
Going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, for a variety of reasons, I might just tell you to stop. Could be somebody's come in, could be your phone ringing, could be anything. So, it could be that you made a mistake. So, basically, I'll say stop. All I want you to do is similar to what you've just done now. Feet away from the pedals, just turn the key. I'll come and see why I've stopped you. Other than that, mate, you're on your top. Go and do it. So, you're going to take off pallet C, place it into location C, is directly ahead of you.
Okay.
Reverse back, park up the machine.
Okay.
Got 30 seconds.
Okay. So.
No pressure.
you struggle with 90-degree turns.
Bit more, bit more, bit more.
Check, so nice, good. Very good judgment, this. Excellent, mate. Well stabilised, yeah. Very good indeed. Stop there, mate. Yeah. What do you need today?
Move back slightly.
Yeah. What are the dangers of it came down there?
Catch the load inside, catch the beams.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Hold to your right, just correct it, just come back. Actually, we'll just stop it there, mate. We've done enough there, more than enough. So, if you want to leave the box in the position, it's fine. Switch off the machine, mate, and dismount. If I had 3 trainees like you every week, I'd be laughing. How did it feel?
Felt a bit more comfortable doing that.
Yeah?
It's good.
You should let show me, I'm going to fix that, mate.
Yeah.
Just showing it there, just as you can see. Perfect restart. No tuition, straight in, all the correct manner, nothing done wrong in there at all. Obviously, maybe about to bring it down a bit close, but I think you realise there's a stop you anyway, so a lot of positives there, mate. Very good lesson, that. Very good lesson. And again, that one step nearer to what we keep talking about.
Too right. Too right.
Let's have a quick look at what we've covered today then. So, we've covered quite a lot. So we've looked at safety precautions on what to take. So we've looked at obviously structure of the racking, security of the loads in there. what was important about the particular pallet we were taking?
That it was of the weight that the truck that could take,
Yeah.
and that it was secure,
And
and it wasn't.
is there anything related to the actual pallet?
Yeah, that it was a secure pallet. It was like a whole pallet.
So it wasn't
not
snapped on or anything
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, that's right.
Excellent. So we've looked at all those safety checks, all about the area, we've checked around the ground, how important that is. What
Yeah.
else under the ground related to the area?
That the pallet's not sticking out too far.
What's opposite to the ground?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. What's at the roof? Yeah, the lights and the
So,
A-frame.
checking
Yeah.
all of that
So
side.
you're right, yeah.
We've learned all about the skill.
Yeah.
Obviously 90-degree turns, we've perfected now. Perfect
Yeah.
now. But we've learned more key skill, which is the D-stack.
Yeah.
So we've learned about judging the height of the forks.
Yeah.
We've learned about how we can double check on the way in, or just before we go in.
Yeah.
We've learned about things to listen out for,
Yeah.
screech, rubs,
Yeah.
everything. We've also learned about the effects of picking up a load off height and what the effects were.
Yeah, that it felt like it was trying to tip
Yeah,
forward a
it's
little
called
bit.
mass deflection, it
Yeah,
bends in,
that's right.
and how do we correct that?
Stabilising tilt.
And then we've learned how to bring it away from the racking,
Yeah.
down into a trapping position safely.
Yeah.
And that's what we've learned today, mate. So it's been a very productive lesson, it's been very good.
Yeah.
So, what we're doing next, well, just wait there a second. What we're going to move on to, we've covered the racking now, so we've done all the stages of the racking, so we're moving on to something a little bit different. So, what we're moving on to is something called bulk stacking.
Right, okay.
So it's an alternative to a racking system, so where we can store lots of stock in a short floor space.
Okay.
Basic skill to it is something called gating. So basically, instead of everything up to now you've had to get lined up perfectly in, down, a bit different this one. You've got to go in a bit of an angle. So we go in a bit of an angle away from it, got to sort of go past it, and turn the truck back onto it and lock it in.
Right.
So it's completely different to what you've been doing so far.
Yeah.
And again, that one step closer to the test, but this is a really good skill to learn. It comes in handy for vehicle loading and other useful areas. So that's what we're going to move on to next, mate. We'll look at all this again, the safety precautions behind it and the skill behind it. So hopefully it gives you something to be excited about for tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Great stuff, mate. Been a good lesson today.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Look
Cheers.
forward to tomorrow.
Great stuff.